Now, recently, Seahawks star cornerback Richard Sherman spoke out, saying he sees where the Black Lives Movement is coming from, but he doesn't exactly agree with it, saying that Black Lives Matter should always matter in every situation, not just cop violence. So what are your thoughts about what he said and the whole Black Lives Matter movement?
Well, I'm going to get to the whole Black Lives Matter movement, but let me just get to Richard Sherman, because there's a lot of people who focus on the part where, why is it just about black lives? It's not just about black lives, okay? The reason why that happens is basically people like Richard Sherman, he's from Compton. He's seen gang members killing each other. He never spoke up. He never said anything. So now that someone's speaking up, regardless of what kind of phrase they use, how are you going to even criticize that? That would be like me. There's a lot of things in the civil rights movement that I don't agree with, but I try my best not to disrespect them because they tried to do what they knew was best to do, like this guy who started Black Lives Matter. So to all the people who think like Richard Sherman that says all lives matter, I look at it like this. Someone asked me, why does there black colleges have to exist? Because black people was discriminated against. That's why they're called black colleges or black entertainment TV, because everything else is. Everything else is. It gets to me that when people who are scared to deal with racism, they start nitpicking little stuff. What white person, you're white, Dave, what white person, this is how I look at, and I'm only bringing up white people because a lot of white people say the same thing Richard Sherman says. Matter of fact, let me play parts of it right now. No, I'm going to play parts of that right now. You remember what he said? Because I'm cutting this part out. Okay, now you see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people feel that way, what he said. And the whole point of it is, yes, all lives matter. And they try to focus on black crime.
That's not what he said. He didn't say that because it's called
Black
Lives Matter movement.
He's saying even not just when a white cop kill a black cop, it should be a matters when a black on black crime, basically, right?
But his statement wasn't all lives matter. He was saying Black Lives Matter all the time, not just in the situation that they're picking. And I agree with Sherman because I remember a few weeks ago I was telling you about that little girl that got killed in her house and they couldn't find the shooters. There was no cop involvement, so Black Lives Matter didn't get involved. And that pissed me off because she was the most innocent of any of the situation. A 9-year-old girl in her bedroom doing homework.
Well, see, that happens is like, here's the situation Black Lives Matters is put in. And like you just been an innocent white person on the sidelines. The media controls everything. So a lot of times the black leaders will come when the media is there. The Black Lives Matter movement will come when the media is there. Of course, every day they could be there. They are there. You just don't see it. That's what Richard Sherman and you guys don't understand. There are people fighting it. It's just like when people say, well, why don't they kick the drug dealers out? There are people trying to kick drug dealers out. The media just doesn't cover those stories. They focus on the ones that can cause more racial tension.
Right, and that's where I was getting to also, because I think the Black Lives Matter are doing that job for the media. I don't think the media is cutting them out on the Black Lives Matter. I think the Black Lives Matter cut themselves out because Black Lives Matter people are even saying themselves that our movement is focusing on police brutality on Black lives, which is extremely, because it's the whole against authority and all that. But every scenario that we've seen of the Black Lives Matter has some sort of controversial effect. There was a guy running away from a cop. Mike Brown was attacking the cop. It makes it way too easy for the media to paint it like, oh, you guys just want to protect the thug. No, that's not the case. They're trying to defend themselves from against police brutality.
What I always tell you about the media, they're going to make a story big when there's some kind of stereotypical element to it. So when the criminal is involved, that's a stereotype of black people. So they make those stories. That girl, the innocent girl in her house who got killed, they don't make that a big story unless the thugs, there's a reason why. You understand what I mean?
Right. And that's my point against the Black Lives Matter, because they make the media's job way too easy by focusing on only police brutality.
The media focuses. See, I understand what you're saying. They're saying they are focused on police brutality. Because there's already elements in the black community dealing with the other issues. They're not doing a great job, but they're doing the best they can do because it's overran. You have to understand something. The power structure controls a lot of stuff on a hidden level, which I don't want to get into right now. So let's just use what we can see, the media, right? There was once 2 skinhead kids, whatever, right? This was in Texas. A long time ago, a black guy was killed by 2 racist guys. He was drugged behind a truck, whatever, right? And it became a big story. His name was James Byrd, I believe, whatever, right? But 2 weeks earlier, 2 skinheads had rescued an old black couple who was in a burning car. You understand? You have to dig to find that story.
Right.
The only reason why I know it was 2 skinheads because that's how they headlined it. They didn't headline it 2 white guys. They were trying to show you, hey, even 2 racist guys can be good, but it never became a big story, right? Because it's something might can bring people together.
Right.
Right. That ain't the media's job. Their job, always they say, is to cause controversy. I believe it's to split and divide because it's controlled by the rich. Right.
Right.
So here's the thing: if a police officer, how can people? Let's just go on the Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Focusing on authority,
let's focus
right?
on the Black Lives Matter.
Now let's bring in the white people who says all lives matter, right? Because you hear about that all the time, whatever, right? And we're not even gonna go into forget about police brutality. What about discrimination when it comes to housing? For every racial incident you as a white person hear, there's 1,000 you didn't hear. So now let's focus on why did you hear about this story? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So now, here's why you heard about the story. Because you cannot equate what a criminal does to another criminal. Because 80 to 85% of all crime, black on black crime, is between drug dealers and gangbangers. Right. Those are criminals killing each other. But the media paint it as black on black crime. They call it black on black crime. They don't call it criminal on criminal, gangbanger on gangbanger. They fit the stereotype or whatever, right? You cannot equate that type of situation with a situation where someone in authority kills an innocent person. That's what people who now I'm only dealing with the all lives matter situation. You can't equate it. This person has been put in a position of authority. And if authority breaks down, it's worse than black on black crime. That's what all Americans need to understand.
Right.
Because when the police is killing people, how the reason why gangs started in the black community? It wasn't to go killing each other. It started because police wasn't policing. So people had to police themselves. Police was beating up people. So people had to come together to stop police brutality. Now imagine if police was never killing each other, doing their job. If police officers was on top of their game, treating all citizens the same. We may never have gangs. Because that is the root of gangs. They started because of social issues. Now that's not where they ended up.
No.
They changed in the 80s, don't get me wrong. But initially when they started. So if that's why authority is so important, because when you have authority breaking the law, it causes a structural breakdown that is unbelievable. Black on black crime only causes a community breakdown.
Right.
Authority breaking the law causes a systematic breakdown. It's so much worse, man, because the domino effect is just, oh my God. The domino effect is unreal. So, now, we got anything else to say on that?
Well, I was waiting for you because you said you wanted to focus on the all lives matter.
Well, that was my part about the all lives. Right.
What about the Black Lives Matter all the time situation? Because
I just addressed that, and what I mean by that, it does matter. Here's the thing about one time I had a debate with a black leader, and he said something that made me think. I was like, oh yeah, right. I said to him, why you black leaders don't go after drug dealers and gangbangers or whatever, right? And you know what he said? Listen to this, folks. Here's what he said. I wish I had my glasses on. Damn it, forgot everything. He says, we do. It's just the media don't follow us when we do. That's the thing about all lives matter. Now, you brought up an important point I didn't know, is that they are focusing on just police brutality,
Right.
which for me is a good thing because I like that. See, here's why I like that. I don't like the name of their show and to focus on police brutality because maybe it should be called Black Lives Matter Against Police Brutality.
Well,
whatever.
that's too long because it's supposed to be
right.
a social
But
media
I like
thing.
the fact that they getting into a specific area because that's one of the problems with black leadership. We try to do a lot. We need more specific organizations doing specific things. Like this black leader should be on top of education. This black leader should be on top of drugs. This black leader, that's how it should be. I'm glad the Black Lives Matters is saying this is what we focus on. Now, it's up to them to be able to defend themselves. And I think the reason why they get attacked from the Richard Sherman type people who not attacking them in a negative way, but attacking them and then the all lives is because the name of it.
Yeah, the name of it, and also the people that they choose as their, I don't know, they're not spokesperson, but they're their examples. Each one of them has a criminal controversy. Like I was telling you before, Mike Brown was attacking the cop. This guy was running away from the cop. The one video that we saw that guy got lucky to record and this old man was
you
running.
mean in North Carolina where he thought he was getting ready to get shot? When you run too if someone's getting ready to shoot you?
Yeah. But there's always that controversy, and
that's what I'm trying to tell you. Is the reason why those stories become big is because the media has decided.
So, and that's where my thing is. Black Lives Matter should go deeper than just
maybe they are. You just don't get it, and it's just not covered. That's the whole point. See, we got to do research. I bet you, if you did more research on them, you would get more of a context of what all they're doing. But what you're going to see in the media is going to be what fits the media agenda and make them look bad. So people, regular Americans, can go, well, all lives matter. All lives matter. Of course, all lives matter. But you guys, they don't really say anything until it's a controversial issue.
Now, let me ask you this. Since we're focusing on police brutality or police not doing their job for the blacks, right? That's what Black Lives. What about situations where even J. Cole makes jokes about this, and I don't know jokes, but he used a thing that he came fast like white cops to he came fast like cops to a white neighborhood. What about that kind of police injustice? The fact that if any minority calls the police, they're like, well, they'll be here in about 30 to 45 minutes. I'll be dead by then. Whereas white people, they showed up yesterday.
Right. And, a lot of...
So should now my question's more wondering because, I'm starting to see what you're saying. My question to you is, should the Black Lives Matter focus on those kind of injustices with the police system since it's all about police?
I believe they do.
Then how come they don't?
No, I believe they do. But that's my whole point is... The media is not going to follow them around when they're doing something that's really positive.
But what about
they're going to wait till it's a criminal element involved, just like you brought up all the criminal stories or whatever, right? When Trayvon Martin got shot, right? When Trayvon Martin got shot, there was another young black man who was a college student who was just listening to music in his car, and someone shot him. That never became a big story. Do you know why that never became? Because his parents was well-to-do, and he was a college student. How can you paint him a criminal?
Right.
See, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Right? So now let's go to Black Lives Matters. Did they say something about that?
No.
In the media?
No, because I also follow a lot of people who do the Black Lives Matter, and no one.
Well, I've been part of organizations, and a lot of times the members. I think that's why it's so important.
And it's not a membership. It's not like there's a group of people in charge of Black Lives Matter. It's a movement, and there are some people who are for the movement that explain the movement. And that's where you're hearing that they're focusing on police brutality.
But you're doing the same thing that happens to like a lot of white people. They get lumped in because some people are racist. But not all white people are racist. Like when I experienced racism, I've only been in one place where I've experienced it every day constantly. Most of the time it was an isolated incident, and that was in Ventura County. When I
Oh,
used to,
you
when I
gotta
used to,
love VC, right?
yeah, when I used to live there, and I don't mean it was like racism, like the way it was just that. But what I'm saying is, it's very hard not to lump everyone in when you're experiencing it all the time, or whatever, right? So my point of it is if you see a lot of Black Lives Matter people not focusing on that, I think it's an injustice to not think some other Black Lives people are focusing in on that.
Right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we have a tendency to do that. We all do that. We all see one of the biggest reasons why racism exists is because it's hard to get rid of stereotypes. We have to go to the core of stereotypes. I always tell white people if you really want this country to be better, like if a white person, when I was part of an organization, a white person asked me what could a white person do? I always keep it as simple. I'm not like Malcolm X who says nothing, right? Because I do feel it's really nothing. It's really about between the racist person and the victim. See, a lot of times we've been conditioned to think racism is between the white person, white people, and black people. It's really not about white people. It's about the
Racist
purple. Exactly. But the media has conditioned you to make you think, so everyone gets lumped in. Right? So if I come up and say something about racism, you feel something because you're white.
Right.
Right? But you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But you've been conditioned to feel something.
So that this topic brings up a lot of questions to me. Like, what about the racist and racist black man? Should he be involved in stuff like Black Lives Matter or civil rights movement kind of stuff? Even if he gets equal treatment, he's still gonna look at white people as racist and stuff like that.
No, he shouldn't. But what happens is a lot of times
black people are racist by defensive.
Well, or by experiences. For example, when I was in college, I had 5 white roommates, and they used to do little things, but I never thought of them as racist. Never. Even to this day, I never did. But then I moved to Ventura County, and I experienced racism every day. So what happens is when you're a black person, your racial awareness goes up.
Right.
And what happens is once that happened, every little thing, but it just didn't come out of nowhere. It comes because every day, constant. So if you find someone that's racist or whatever, right? Because there are black persons who could have racism in them, whatever, right? But they may not have the power to be racial. Because I was in Ventura County, it was only 3% black. How am I going to treat? Is there a difference in me as a racist person in Ventura County than a white person who's racist in Ventura County? Because I'm 3%. So you could and that's what people don't realize. It's like, that's why people focusing on minority. It's like, you have to, it's so many things that person can do that I can't. Now, if, for example, you just focus on a black racist person. Think about all the racial incidents that you've heard of from black people, right?
Right.
Think about it, right? Go use the toilet. Think about it, right? You know the majority of the stories you hear about when a black person is being racist, and I'm just talking about in the media again, the majority, it'd be young kids. It'd be young black kids.
That don't understand.
Right. They might beat up one white guy or something, or that, whatever, right? But a white dude is at a cross burning. He's like 40 years old with 5 kids, teaching his kids that.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
There's a difference.
Right. No, yeah.
It's
definitely
a whole cultural thing that no one ever really wants to go to the real root of the problem. Mm-hmm. It's a culture embedded within the system of America. All right, be quiet. Keep it down. So, you understand? I'll cut all that out. But, yeah. So, go ahead. What you got to say on that?
You just answered my question. I see what you're coming from. I see what you're saying.
Go outside. Go outside, Jeff. Go outside. Go outside. Go outside. Go outside. Go outside. Go to the back. Go outside. That was getting good. But, and so, like I get asked that all the time. A white guy say, "Well, can a black person be racist?" I say, "Yeah, they can, but it's usually an isolated incident. It's not, rarely have I met a black person in a position of power that's racist."
Right.
But I've been in many situations where a white person been in a position of power, police captain, Bill Gates. Oh, did I say Bill Gates? I'm sorry, not Bill, Daryl Gates. I mean, sorry, Bill. Daryl Gates, he was the LAPD chief. You see what I'm saying? Who can cause more? Those little kids who's coming from school that see a little white guy and beat him up? Or the police chief?
Right.
Or the mayor?
Right.
Or the housing head or coordinator?
Right.
You see, that's where it, and Mal, I'll get back to it. One of the things I always say to a white person who I usually don't talk racism with a white person because it's just not fair. It's not fair because you usually deal with racism stuff on TV. Mm-hmm. I deal it in reality. So when we come to the table, it's just not even fair to talk racism with you.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, and a lot of times you guys deal with it from that stereotypical position because the media is stereotype. So what I always tell a white person, if you want to make America better or you want to improve this country, just stop believing everything you see and read on the media about black people, period. We are individuals. Just like you guys look at each other as individuals. I'm not Flavor Flav. I'm not Snoop Dogg. You get what I'm saying? And that's what's so hard. Stereotypes. So,
I think my last statement to this is not all stereotypes are true because people say only black people like fried chicken. Everyone likes fried chicken.
I know. And watermelon.
And everyone loves watermelon and fried chicken. It's not just black people. I love it.
And you know why but see, here's the difference. See, a lot of times those type of cultural stereotypes, they came during slavery, and that's why it has a negative connotation. Because, without going into some history lesson, I don't want to go into it, but a lot of times those stereotypes that we deal with, and I always feel sorry for a lot of white people who have to deal with them type of stereotypes today who had nothing to do with what went on back in the day. They're like, I like chicken, I like watermelon. Right. But a lot of times, it's a historical connotation to it, so you don't want to really deal with it. So, and with that said,